Hey, everybody. It's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan. And there are 4 clear front runners in the creation of digital currencies for their sovereign fiat. Sometimes we call these CBDCs, short for central bank digital currencies. And I think everyone is watching this very carefully. And there's a few reasons why. Many people believe this is part of the great global reset. This is also part of that big push for the whole world to go cashless. And it's really going to give governments more control over money laundering. But it's also going to give them the ability to mine data on every citizen. And yes, it will include the unbanked because they can now bank with just a mobile phone. But in some countries, it's going to create a social score system. And that can either reward you or penalize you. I think that's really some scary stuff. So the leaders are Hong Kong, China, Thailand, and Sweden. They are all far ahead of the rest of the world when it comes to the execution of their CBDCs. And in this video, all 3 are on this panel that comes from September 20th, and they're speaking on the future of money. And the representatives, well, yeah, there's a representative from the People's Bank of China and the current executive director of Hong Kong Monetary Authority and the assistant governor of the Bank of Thailand and the senior advisor for the Riksbank in Sweden. And I think you're going to find that the issues are many. It's just not that easy. The one part they have not solved yet is what to do in the case of a power outage. And it may seem trivial, but it's a real big concern. And also, they haven't figured out what to do in the case of a bank run. And the actual overall design is really not been decided yet. Do you just do wholesale or do you also do retail, as China is seemingly delving into first? It's complicated. And because there is also a loss of relevancy for the banks below the central bank. So how will the regional banks be used if the central bank facilitates this system? So I want you to listen to this one portion of the panel where China is talking about their digital wallets. You're going to see how far ahead they are. And it's not just incorporating the big banks, but also the payment service providers, the PSPs, the telecoms, and the general public. You're going to be surprised because I know I was. Let's see if I can play this for you here.
The universal app for the ECNY, in order to prevent any fraudulent cases, we actually will develop all the participants, including the authorized operators, including the big banks, the PSPs, and the telecom operators. We jointly developed a universal app, digital currency app for the whole country. So that app actually have been developed of the institutions, the authorized operators, by the operators and for the operators, and also for the general public. So that's the update of our digital currency, our ECNY. Thank you.
I find that amazing. You know, the size of China and the fact that they have completed the digital wallet for the app to be used. It's really, it's quite astounding. Now, the big question that's very interesting on this panel is they were asked if the CBDC is the silver bullet to curb the digital currencies and stablecoins in this space. First, we're going to hear from Mr. Wan. He is from Hong Kong, and you're going to hear his position of how he believes this is going to either curb or have a listen.
Mr. Palmer,
Hi, David. Yes. Well, I think on this point about whether CBDC would be a silver bullet to curb private digital currencies, well, I suspect that as central banks, we do not have an objective to curb, private digital currency. That's because we actually kind of, welcome innovation. We welcome the private sector to come up with innovative products that can better address customer demand. I think our concerns mainly fall on the risk. There are all sorts of risks on surrounding these new products, consumer protection, financial stability, AML, etc. So I think, well, yes, at the end of the day, the CBDC may have some sort of similar function with the private sector provided, digital currencies. But all along, I think our objective is not to hinder or to prevent them from development. Rather, we probably want to see there is a healthy kind of, coexistence between these two types of, new species.
So they don't want to hinder the innovation, and they see more of a coexistence. But China has a different view. China's answer is very much what I expected it to be. And you'll hear how this representative from the People's Bank of China feels about the CBDC being a silver bullet to curb digital currencies. Have a listen.
David, for the, are we still on the question of silver bullet? Silver bullet?
Yes. Not in terms of the massive options.
Yeah, okay. Well, personally, I because as I said, the first answer to the first question is to safeguard the monetary sovereignty. So for me, for those private digital currency, they are the bullets. We just want to build a strong armor. So it's not to kill them, it's to just preventing they are killing us. So that's my view on this digital currency thing, private digital currency thing.
Did you see how they've got some smiles? So they see the digital currencies, the private digital currencies, they are the bullet, and he is wanting to just build strong armor to prevent them from being killed. That's a really very, very different take on it. So do I think that the People's Bank of China will use XRP? No, I don't. This is my personal position. But do I think another company like Alipay or WeChat would use XRP? Well, maybe. They are a payment system that creates sort of this redundancy within the payment system for China. So here is an Alipay partner, for example, that would very likely use XRP. This is a company that is called Tranglo, and they did partner with Ripple back in January 2020. And I think that this Malaysian company, who is an Alipay partner, is possibly using RippleNet for their new business application. This is something that was launched just recently, and we have a brand new video that came out, published on September 20th. And you're going to see here, we're going to look at the countries that this is helping, and it's a business to business application. So it's the SME focus, which is what Ripple has been saying that they are moving towards. And let's just have a quick look, and it's a very, very short video, just 47 seconds long, but we will stop it just to look at the countries that this app is going to work in.
This is you. You run a business or an e-commerce platform. You need to receive and send cross-border payments reliably, but they can be expensive and complicated. What can you do? Introducing Tranglo Business, the fully automated payment platform you deserve. Receive funds on Tranglo's multi-country.
So let's look at these multi-countries. We've got Malaysia, then Singapore, Japan, Brunei, and then that's the famous Meru Pagoda in Bali, Indonesia. All right, let's look at a few more countries.
Solution and send them out securely.
All right, in this screen we have Vietnam, Australia, India. There's Malaysia again. This is Shanghai, China, Turkey, and Nepal. And last, we have Singapore, Bangladesh, Thailand, Philippines, Japan. I think this is Indonesia again. I'm not 100% sure. I think so. The last one was for sure. And then the last is Sri Lanka. So these are countries, of course, that RippleNet is extremely strong in. And I would venture to guess that where regulation is clear, I think you're going to see some announcements. I expect some announcements, actually, for that on-demand liquidity at Swell on October 14th and 15th. And I will actually be surprised if we don't see some ODL announcement from these countries that we just saw is live in the Tranglo business app. And speaking of Swell, this is an event that is coming up October 14th and 15th. And speaking at Swell will be Sheila Warren. She is the head of the blockchain and digital assets team at the World Economic Forum. And she was a former Wall Street attorney, but now resides in San Francisco. And she'll take the stage in a fireside chat with Monica Long about how policymakers are thinking about digital currencies. And from the Voice of Woman YouTube channel, Sheila was in a new video that was published on September 12th. It's very good to watch in its entirety if you have girls in your family. So if you miss the Swell event, which is quite possible because it's an invite-only virtual event, and they may not show everything online. So I thought it was important to have a listen to this, just a short segment with Sheila, how she feels about digital currencies.
Digital currency is something that I feel very strongly and positively about. There is a perception that cryptocurrency specifically, and I'll specifically say Bitcoin, is something that is a danger to society, that it is used by criminals to conduct illicit activities. And there is no question that that is true. However, it is a very small piece of the overall picture. What cryptocurrencies can do is enable peer-to-peer engagement around money. Just like the internet enabled us to share content very quickly with people all over the world, seamlessly, frictionlessly, and at a fractional cost, the same thing can be true of money. And you can imagine a world in which we could engage in a direct, seamless transaction with any individual who had a digital wallet anytime in the world at any point in time, and what that might empower. Some things people are excited about, including me, are the concept of micropayments. Right now, it's just inefficient to send pennies using United States currency to anyone. It doesn't really make sense. But imagine if you could do that for free. Those pennies could quickly add up. As I always tell my daughter, if you put the pennies in your piggy bank, someday you'll have $1, and that dollar can grow into more and more. I also think digital currency is going to change the way we think about intergenerational wealth transfer. There's no question that those who are coming of age today and entering the job market have very different opportunities than I had when I first entered the job market and joined Wall Street. There's much more uncertainty. There is much more anxiety. And of course, Students today that come out of university are saddled with ever increasing and sometimes crushing debt loads. Digital currencies can provide a new investment vehicle for those who are entering the next phase of life. We're transitioning from being young adults into being householders. Maybe they're getting married and having children. We think we're going to be seeing new ways of harnessing and creating wealth. The digital currencies and cryptocurrency and blockchain technology lead and drive.
There you go. You had a chance to listen to her. I think she's going to have some of the same similar narrative when she speaks at Swell. And talking about women in the community, this is actually coming not from a woman, but it's coming from Ferdy. But he is going to feature women in blockchain this next week. And he has a new person every day he's going to feature. I hear his lineup is powerful. You can find him on the Coil website at coil.com/u/Ferdy. And you might see me featured on one of those days. And somebody else who I think is really doing amazing work in this community is King Solomon. He is one person who does a tremendous amount of research, and he'll begin to break down various digital assets in the top list of the market cap coming up this next week. So if you don't have time to research, I think King Solomon is a person that you can lean on for help. And I look forward to his research every time. All right, everybody, we are jumping to the fluff. So Japan is battling a low birth rate. All the time they have been battling now for years. And they've tried many different initiatives to put into place in hopes that they would reverse this. But, well, it hasn't yet worked. So none of the initiatives have actually been successful. So this one is going to give newly married couples money. They can receive up to 600,000 yen, which is basically in US dollars about $5,700. And it'll help cover rent and other costs to start a new life together. There are some requirements. The couple has to be, each of them have to be under 40 years of age. And they also have a income. It has to be less than 5.4 million yen. So it's, you know, they can't be making a lot of money to get this incentive. But you know, maybe this initiative will work. I'm not sure. And we're in the middle of a 2-day holiday here in Japan. Yesterday was to celebrate it's the elder person day. So you are to celebrate with some elder person. And then today's official holiday is the autumn equinox. So that is also comes with some seasonal food like the mochi. This may not look good, but I'll tell you it is so good. It's a type of rice cake. It is just yummy. So this is traditionally something that is eaten on the night of the equinox. But I think more interesting is the spider lily that comes into bloom. This is, you know, you equate end of March, early April with the cherry blossom, but for the end of September, it's the spider lily. And it is now coming up in bloom all over Japan. It is really one of those beautiful flowers when it is in bloom. And so often it is taken with these butterflies that are just everywhere at this time of year. Here is something that somebody posted on Twitter. What a really beautiful photograph. But there's a place in Saitama, kind of a forest, that is famous to visit because it just gets a carpet of spider lilies. And here is another location too, where you can see when they are in full bloom. It's really, really fabulous. And if you're not into that, well, in the countryside, because it's starting to become the harvest time for rice. There are a lot of these kind of scarecrows, but I don't think it's officially a scarecrow, but they are people doing everyday life chores made of rice. And this is a tradition that happens in the countryside. And sometimes I find them a little creepy. I picked one out that I didn't think was so creepy. There are some that just are like, whoa, that's just too scary for me. But this is something that you're going to see in the countryside this time of year. All right, everybody, do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.